Appendix versus Strongside carry part 2. What's the best one for you? Well, let's talk about that. How's it going, everybody? It's Bishop here for Tactical POV. Yes, I'm back doing a part 2 of this video 5 years later. Yeah, I've been trying to get to this thing to some more versions of Appendix versus Strongside carry, and it's taken me a minute. It's taken me a while. I've been very busy, and I haven't had enough time to slow down and actually focus on, say, hey, Bishop, I guess you need to do part 2, part 3, and part 4. But anyway, if you're new here to my channel here, I just give about gun reviews, product reviews, everything else, drills, different things like that, all centered around EDC, everyday carry, concealed carry. That's what I do here for the average guy who has a little size to him. And even though my size is changing as I'm getting older here, getting a little fat too, welcome to my channel. But first of all, let me talk about this here as we talk about the Appendix versus Strongside carry. My part 1 you saw I did with my cousin out here, helped me do that. And I talked about clothing a little bit from his football jersey that he had on too. I am going to touch back on that at another time, okay, with another part of this series here, to talk about that, because it's very important as far as clothing and your attire and what you wear. So I'm gonna give some examples of some exercises that can kind of help you judge exactly the type of clothing that you should wear, whether you're carrying Strongside or Appendix. Now, as you guys know, I carry Appendix. So what I'm talking about in this video here is what is best for you. Honestly, when it really comes down to Appendix carry versus Strongside, honestly, it comes down to what you are comfortable with. Okay, what works best for you? What works best for me is Appendix. As I said in my previous video, for years I used to carry Strongside, but over time I had to switch over to Appendix. Now, guys, okay, we're all adults here. You should be grown here and understand that, you know, you got to get over that fear of, man, I don't know about carrying Appendix, dude, because they shoot my junk off. I heard so many bad stories about this and that, and I've seen so much stuff, and I'm like, well, first of all, the stories that you hear about guys accidentally shooting themselves in the junk carrying Appendix or anything else like that starts out with one, gear. Okay, what type of gear were they putting that firearm in? That means holster. So, I mean, was it carrying in a Kydex? Was it a molded? Or is it like a Kydex retention or something like that? You know what I mean? If it was something like that, was solid, where there was nothing pressing. Hold on. Cessna flying down here low. Listen to my audio. Anyway, as I said, was it a Kydex with a leather retention, a neoprene or something like that, with a Kydex shell, hard shell, a half shell or something like that? Something that's hard enough to protect the trigger over the trigger guard. Was it something like that, or was it just a straight neoprene holster with nothing hard shelled around the trigger guard? Because yes, there has been accidents that's happened like that, or maybe it could be negligence. I know part of it is gear. Biggest thing is gear if it's in a holster. The other part of that story too is that when you hear stories like that and you've seen videos or anything else like that, these are people, man, it's still, if you're running around with that bare gun without it being protected in a holster, that happens too, okay? So once you get over the fear of that, saying basically, don't ever carry a firearm around without a holster or something as far as a hard shell or something that's protecting the trigger guard and the trigger, don't run around like that, okay? You can run around in sweats or something like that if you got a good, you know, a good system. As long as it's hard shelled or something that's hard around the trigger guard protecting that trigger, you won't have any issue, all right? 2, outside of that, 2, keep your finger off the trigger. A lot of accidents happen, man, because of negligence. And it's really, I don't even call it accident, just pure negligence. Negligence in your safety. So that's also how it happens as well. So with that being said, is as you see some of the positions that I run in here, like I said, as far as the draw, what I talked about in the previous video before. that if I'm drawing from appendix, I prefer my appendix because my weapon is in front of me. I'm protecting it here. It's an easier grab too, and everything is I can handle up front. All right, and it's right there with me. Okay, so when I draw and bring this out, I can bring this up straight up, orient the firearm, and then bring it straight out presentation. Okay, that's appendix. Now, doing this from strong side position, I show you that too as well, but I'm gonna have to change my holster here, so gotta change positions. All right, back at it here. Now that I've changed holster's position, I swear this is so weird because I haven't carried strong side in so long. Doesn't even feel natural anymore. But as I said before in my other video, it is still an issue for me to reach across and grab from here. Now, if it works for you, that's perfectly fine. If you don't have any problem in your shoulders or binding you up or anything else, then go with it, okay? If you feel confident with it being on your strong side, that's perfectly fine too. Still, the concept is bringing the firearm up, orienting the barrel towards the threat here at a close and high and tight retention. The one thing about strong side carry that I see so many do, and a lot of my students do, and I correct this too in my class, is the fact that if I back up here, show you exactly what I'm talking about. There we go. The one thing that I see my students do so much of, or I catch some do a lot most, is that scoop presentation. What I mean by a scoop type of presentation is when they draw from the holster and they get into a habit of scooping the firearm underneath to bring it to presentation and already out. This is very bad, a very bad habit that I try to work with to correct, because this scoop is really not benefiting you at all in a close quarters type of combat if a threat gets within that average distance of engagement with 11 feet to 3 feet. So scooping this firearm and bringing it out before you actually get it, the sights in your eyes, what you see is very bad. What you want to do is get this firearm in. So I'm gonna put it back. Like I said, it's been a while since I carried a strong side, so very weird feeling. So even if you draw and you pull, you still want to orient this barrel high and tight here, because you might have to make that shot from here, because if that threat becomes within that distance of 11 feet to 3 feet, that average distance of engagement, scooping this and throwing this gun out there first is just basically putting it in harm's way. Anything within 2 arms reach is too close. So you might have to make these shots from here. So it's very important to this. This is a very bad habit I have to break. It's the same thing when I carry appendix and draw and bring here. Instead of throwing this firearm out, bring out, get the sights on, and there you go. So as far as it, man, I'm telling you, this is so weird putting it back in strong side. It's been so long. As far as that's concerned, as I said, if it works for you, because I'm not a naysayer either way. I used to carry the other way. I used to carry strong side. So like I said, I can't knock it at all. It worked for the longest time for me until things changed. Then I had to change and adapt to it as well. So now my appendix works out way better for me. Actually changing this position from strong side over to appendix, honestly, it literally took about 3/4 of a second of draw time, just changing position. And that was the first time when I started carrying appendix. Over time, then it speeded it up, and then it got to basically a full second from that, because it's just, this motion is just so fluid from appendix. Now, as far as ride comfort or anything else like that, it depends on how it rides for you in a vehicle. If you ride all day, some part, and depending on the vehicle or something, it just depends on your gear. Finding that sweet spot there on that appendix right there. It all depends on you. It depends on, like I said, your clothing. That helps as well. But there's really no right or wrong way. It's just whatever works for you. All right, so you find that out, trial and error. with your gear. Everything else, as far as I said, throughout your day-to-day activities or something like that, eventually you find out, you know. I mean, the gear is definitely for sure. I remember other holsters I used to have, the ones I talked about, I did reviews on, like Alien Gear. Alien Gear is a good, very, very good custom budget holster. It's just, for my taste, it's just a little too bulky. Some I've seen it in the comments in my other videos too. The guy said the same thing. It's a bulky holster. It's a great holster, but it's just a little too thick. Streamlining it down as far as for less print, more streamlined carry, closer to the body. G-code holsters work for me. It may not work for you, but I know they work for me perfect. Okay, there's other ones I know. There's what, Bravo Concealment. There's so many of them out there, man, and different ones. You got We the People holsters, and it's, like I said, it's a ton of them, guys. You know, you don't have to find something that works for you and go with it. All right, so hey, if you liked the video, I appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will come back some more and talk part 3, part 4 of clothing. Part 3 is clothing. All right, part 4, I'm gonna come up with something else for part 4. Probably different positions as far as standing, kneeling, and prone. What works better? That'll be something here coming up when it warms up a little bit more. But anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see you on the next video. And always remember, you are responsible for your own safety.